Mannequins seem to be broken and they could corrupt your character. In this overview, I will share everything you need to know in order to stay safe. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to another Fallout 76 video. There is a new game-breaking bug live with update 26 regarding the mannequins. A few days ago, I saw a report claiming that mannequins could cause character data corruption. At first, I didn't think it was serious, but yesterday, the Dataminer community claimed they received 8 reports about this rising issue already, and as such, they decided to make an announcement recommending players not to use mannequins for the time being, until Bethesda investigates and somehow hotfixes the problem. But what's really going on? Well, I decided to read as many reports as I could find and to try and replicate the bug myself, and after putting the pieces together, I'm ready to explain the puzzle to you. Anyhow, before we proceed, let me make a disclaimer here. I'm not encouraging or recommending you to follow any of the bug guidelines in this video. If you want to try and test things out, to help to provide more details, please be safe and do it on a new character. That way, if things go south, you can always report the bug and just delete the character if it comes to that. With no penalties, no items lost, no risk involved at all. Okay, with that being said, let me tell you how this bug works. You have probably heard about how mannequins can break your character. After all, the player reports are starting to pile up on social media. But what you probably don't know yet is how it can trigger and why are mannequins generating such a heavy bug? Well, I cannot provide you a scientific answer here, even the data miners are not exactly sure, but there are a few possibilities on the table that makes a lot of sense, as you will soon find out. To simplify things, I will use this player report. Basically, if you equip the same type of items into different mannequins, there seems to be a chance to corrupt your character data, and that will result in a disconnected from the server error. However, this is no ordinary disconnect, as you will always get booted from public servers a few seconds after you try to connect. Just like it happened to this player, whenever he tried to connect, he got booted a few seconds later. There's no way to play like this, is it? Anyway, this apparently happens because the system detects corrupted data as your character loads into the world. So when the loading process is complete, the system detects something is wrong with your character's save and it will kick you out every time. According to the head dataminer Xera, this is part of a light anti-cheat system we have in the 76 servers, as he referred to the checkpoint system, which is responsible for saving a character's progress. For example, every time you pick or drop an item. Now, this mannequin bug doesn't always auto-disconnect you from the server right after you drop an item. It takes a while, which is an indication the system needs a little bit to analyze your new save and then detect something is not right. But things are not as straightforward as I would hope for. It's definitely not black and white. According to multiple reports, this bug doesn't simply happen by equipping and unequipping the same type of item. It requires a certain type of actions for mannequins to go wild and corrupt your save. Now, the dataminer Zeeks shared some details on what he learned from several reports on how this bug is possibly being triggered, and as you can see, it includes a few more steps than just equipping items, such as spamming the assigned key, dropping an item and relogging. Also, keep in mind this bug is character locked, so if one of your characters end up getting affected by this problem, it will not spread to your entire account. Thankfully, just to make things clear. Anyway, another report goes even further with the details on how this bug happened, and according to this player, he managed to duplicate the item he was assigning and unassigning on a mannequin. Kazi here ended up with an extra copy of his item, and once he dropped something, his checkpoint triggered, and soon after he got kicked from the server into the disconnecting loop I showed you guys in the previous point. However, what's curious here is that Cozy claims the checkpoint doesn't register since he logs back into a reroll right after the mannequin equipping. It doesn't save any item drops, but it does seem to save the extra item copy generated by the mannequin bug. In my view, this means the system detects corrupted data and refuses to save anything new in order to prevent duplicated items from registering in the servers. So the theory about the server anti-cheat being causing this corrupted data problem and then the disconnect loop as well is starting to make a little bit more sense, isn't it? Now, I'm not saying every affected player was actively trying to duplicate items, not like that. But duping seems to be the main reason this bug is triggering. After all, this method seems to generate an extra item before the corruption settles in. However, this sort of bug seems to generate an extra item nonetheless, so it can end up casually happening to anyone without even trying to dupe anything. I find it a bit hard, but it's certainly not impossible. Of course, if you have knowledge of past duplication methods, it should be easier to get things going here, if you know what I mean, since in most cases the logic behind those glitches are very, very similar. But even if you don't, it doesn't mean you are totally safe. Moreover, there is a rumor that duplicated items could cause or trigger the same mannequin corruption error I've been talking about. Let's say you own some duplicated items without knowing. There is no way to know really, but sadly there are tons and tons of duped items around. So the chances for any of us to own at least one is very high. Anyway, the rumor states if you try to equip such duplicated items into mannequins, they will use the same ID number and mess up your character's save as well. I suspect that's what happened here, since this player basically equipped and then removed a forest camp jumpsuit from his mannequin, and soon after his character got booted and his save got corrupted. Now, we don't know exactly what happened here. We don't have enough information. We don't know if he managed to get an extra item previously while messing with the assign button, for example. So it's difficult to tell for sure what happened, but it's extra proof that something is definitely wrong with the mannequins right now. Moving forward, I decided to replicate this bug on a new character to see how easy or how often this bug can be triggered. I followed all the guidelines I showed you guys in the previous points and tried several combinations of the same item types in 5 mannequins with the same armor, the same jumpsuit, the same normal outfit, the same atomic shop outfit, the same hat. And nope, nothing happened to my freshly made character. I also spawned the assign and space keys many times until my fingers were, hurting at that point. I did the tests in normal servers, in laggy servers with 3 launch nukes, and still nothing. So I did try a lot of different things and combinations during almost 3 hours of testing. As such, I can say with confidence that this is not a common bug. It doesn't happen so easily. I mean, if you try to replicate it so badly using accurate report details and it doesn't happen, not even once, then it probably means 3 things in my humble opinion. The obvious one is this is a rare bug, so even if you follow the same exact steps, it doesn't happen to everyone, no matter how much you try, period. Secondly, this might be related to duplicated items and duping attempts in general. As such, if you just use mannequins the way they are supposed to, nothing troublesome should happen to you. I mean, you might end up with an extra item once in a blue moon, but that's unlikely to happen without fishy actions, in my view. It might happen, it's 76 after all, but what I'm trying to say is that it shouldn't very often, at least. The last option could be that the public player reports we have right now are not very accurate and they are missing steps, or they are not referring exactly what the players did before they got bugged. If that's the case, then it would obviously lead to different results. It would prevent other players like me from replicating the issue. Now, I was not the only one trying to bug myself. A few other data miners, friends, and even Juicehead tried to replicate this, and none of us were able to. Last I checked, at least. So, honestly speaking, I don't think this is a very common bug or easy to experience. In fact, an affected player claimed he already found a way to fix this. That's right, one of the first players to report this type of incident updated his Reddit post and claims he found a solution to bypass this game-breaking bug. Now, the issue with the mannequin corruption is that it will force your character into a disconnecting loop. However, if your camp doesn't load into the server, the corruption is not loaded either. I know, it sounds confusing, but the player inventory and the camp inventory are two separate things. So if the corrupted data is with your mannequin and not you, all you have to do is despawn your camp somehow. I hope that makes sense. The reported fix claims that if a friend places their camp on your own camp location, then it will no longer load in as per usual, and that allows your character to properly load in again. And then you can remove any corrupted items from the mannequins using your stash. Any stash box will do. Once you do that, you should be able to spawn your camp back and resume your normal gameplay. By this logic, changing camp slots would work too, in theory, but when you join a server, it starts immediately loading your active camp, so it probably won't work. I mean, it's worth trying, but I don't have a lot of hopes for this one. Since there is no blocker, nothing is preventing your camp from spawning. Therefore, by the time you click to activate another camp slot, the server has already loaded your camp. And yeah, the same disconnecting loop will happen endlessly. Anyway, at least there is a viable fix now. So if your character is being affected by this issue, make sure to use another account to fix your character or ask a friend to help you shortly. Also, don't forget to report this bug directly to Bethesda so they can work on a fix as soon as possible. In fact, they are already investigating. Lady Devon has been asking for more details, and she asked about ticket numbers in some Reddit reports to help them get to the bottom of this issue. Now, after explaining how this mannequin bug works and sharing basically everything I discovered about it so far, it's opinion time. I bet most of you guys and girls are wondering, is it safe to use mannequins right now? Because that's what I asked myself yesterday after reading multiple reports. It's actually the main reason that made me test things myself and try to break a character. Anyway, the logical answer is no, they are not safe to use, especially because we are not 100% sure what is or what can trigger this corruption issue. And due to the severity of this bug, it's not really worth the risk. I mean, you might end up with a corrupted, unplayable character just for the sake of displaying some cosmetics or armor. I'm not even sure how is Bethesda handling their reports, if they are debugging characters, restoring access, or anything alike. I haven't heard anything of the such though. At least we have a potential fix, as I explained in the previous point, so that's something, that's promising news. On the other hand, if this supposed fix doesn't work for everyone, there is no way to bypass this bug and play such affected characters until Bethesda comes up with a solution. One thing is for sure though, this is far from being a common bug. So I say use mannequins at your own risk. I really think you should avoid them altogether for the time being. That's the wise decision to make, because as rare as the bug might be, it's not worth the risk, you know. But if you really can't help yourself and you want to have mannequins at your camp or shelters, then at the very least, do not mess around with them. Just equip items slowly, the usual way, without key spamming and so on. Also, just to inform you, I used them a lot on the last public test servers. I equipped half of my cosmetics on them, backpacks, armor, under armor, hazmat suits, dozens of outfits, even my wedding ring, and not even once I found any major bugs. Now, I tried to trigger this bug on purpose, and after several hours, nothing happened to my character, as I explained earlier. And you guys know how often bugs find me, or I find them, one way or the other. So I find this entire situation quite strange and shady. Something doesn't feel right to me. As such, before we learn more, it's best to take the safer approach. We are probably missing something crucial in here, in how it works. Avoid mannequins and protect your data. Keep corruption at bay or live on the edge. It's totally up to you. You're informed now, so you're free to do as you please. Well, I hope now you understand what's going on regarding Mannequins and how this new corruption issue is possibly triggering. It can be really game-breaking and despairing. Can you imagine not being able to play your character with hundreds or thousands of invested hours? Ouch, we don't want that to happen, and that's why you guys should play it safe for the time being. I'm sure Bethesda will investigate and come up with a fix, especially if the reports keep rising. If they do, then this bug will become a public hazard, and they will be forced to address this one way or the other, maybe even disable Mannequins before they fix the problem. However, if this is a rare bug, as I suspect it to be, it might take them a while until something is done. There is another option though. If this is related to duping, as one of the rumors suggests, and now we know about a potential fix, then they really have to get this fixed, or a new duplication method will spread like wildfire. Anyway, that's it for now, and make sure to fill up a support ticket if this issue happens to any of your characters, and I hope I could help you make an informed decision regarding Mannequins. Stay safe everyone, and if you enjoyed, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to help the algorithm. A huge thanks to all my dear survivors as well. If you wish to become one, check the links below the video. Alright then, I will see you all very soon in the next one. Until then, take care, adios, bye bye!